I had a case, in my first year as an officer, where a drunk man launched his car off a boat ramp. We approximated that he was going 50 miles per hour and the car landed in 20 feet of water. Now the cool part, he swam out, ran 8 miles to his uncle's house and stole his tow truck. He then drove the truck back, swam down and hooked the tow cable to the axle of the car and then proceeded to pull the tow truck into the water as well. We were called on scene and we could only see the headlights and the tip of the hood above water. He was passed out asleep on the dock next to it. Makes me think of Captain Starlight. He was on trial for stealing cattle, but the jury was so impressed with the feat that they found him not guilty. The judge asked the jury to reconsider. The jury came back out and stated, "Not guilty, and he can keep the cattle." I was not the cop in this, but I assume that the cops thought I was so cool that they let me go. I was at this party that was busted up by cops and I was stuck upstairs in a room that may or may not have had illegal substances in it. I can't recall. It was this cool house with a balcony over a pool, and beyond the pool was a gate out towards the street, so I was like, I know what I'll do. So I went out on the balcony and jumped into the pool. And then a few cops started walking around the pool and looking at me and at the balcony with confused smiles on their faces and commenting on my dive bombing technique and also refusing to join me in the pool. Eventually I got out of the pool. I was underage and high and drunk as a motherfucker, and all that they did was call my uncle and say, "Come and get him and bring a towel." They didn't even investigate where I had originated from, so that was a nice diversion, if it was required, which I don't recall. They didn't want to deal with you. Source: MCOP. I have a female friend who's a bit different. One day, we're out on the balcony of my old apartment having a smoke when the police helicopter flies by. She flashes her boobs at the helicopter while waving and jumping up and down, and the pilots circled around for another pass. Retired cop here. Get a call of an argument between man and wife. Arrive. Guy answers the door and says it was only verbal and she left. Tell him I have to have a look inside to make sure she isn't dead in a closet. He laughs and says, "Sure, I get it. Come on in." I do a quick looky-loo and open a bedroom closet door. Dude has a full marijuana grow in the closet, probably 10 to 15 plants, grow lights, the works. This is before it's legal. I quickly close the door and tell him to have a nice day. I couldn't see arresting that poor sap for a felony cause he got in an argument with his wife. I was pulled over for speeding on my bike once. They seemed quite impressed by my pace when they saw the old bike I was riding on and just gestured me to leave without even stopping, LOL. I never know if by bike you mean bicycle or motorbike. I mean, if you're going fast enough to break the speed limit on a bicycle, then you deserve to be let off. A friend of mine used to be a hash dealer, and for some reason he spent his money on reptile habitats. Giant glass enclosures, connected by tunnels, plant life everywhere, dozens of different reptiles living in a lush green world. When he got busted, cops were calling other cops to come take a look. Some even went to get cameras. This was the 90s, because they were so blown away by what they were seeing. Of course they still arrested him, but in the cops' eyes he had become a cool reptile guy instead of just another drug dealer they were arresting. We used to have this campus police officer that would come chill at the picnic table with us while we smoked the electric lettuce. He said he loved the smell and enjoyed being around us while we were goofy. That and we weren't drunks destroying everything in our path like the rest of the students. Come to think of it, my college was liberal as hell. This was 12 years ago in northeastern Pennsylvania. Weed was essentially legal on my campus, but they really enforced underage drinking. My uncle is a cop in Philly. They arrested a guy who in one night put up a 20-foot-long, 10-foot-high mosaic mural. Not a policeman, but a cool dude police guy stopped me for speeding one Christmas day many years ago. I was late for my night shift at work, so I was in a hurry. When he stopped me, I was thinking, shit. I am a big black guy, in a BMW with tinted windows. Surely it looks dodgy as hell. I live in the UK. After apologizing, explaining and showing him my details, He knew I was legit, and not trying to pull a fast one, so he said follow me, and he put on his police car light on, and helped me speed through the traffic to be at work on time for the night shift. To this day I see him around and buy him a beer in the local pub whenever I can. My friend is a police officer in Berlin. He and his colleague were sent to an incident of domestic violence. A guy was beating up his wife and the neighbors called the police. When they arrived at the scene, they found the son of the wife beating up his stepfather, who was trying to fight back but just catched one hit after the other. The son made sure not to hit his stepfather's face, and when asked later he said, "I didn't want him to drop unconscious. I wanted this to last." Also, that would have been unfair as he never hit my mother where other people could see her bruises too.